Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the When I Work live Q&A webinar. We are going to be getting started here in just 1 or 2 minutes. So while we wait, feel free to chat with us. You can open up the chat tool on this webinar, just the chat bubble, and you can let us know where you're joining us from, what kind of work you're scheduling and time tracking for. It's always really fun and interesting for us to get to know you all a bit better before we get started, and it's a great way to start out the webinar. So again, we will be just waiting 1 or 2 minutes, and we will be getting started here shortly. Just making sure everyone that wanted to join us today gets to join. When I Work does schedule for all different types of companies. So we're not just scheduling for one type of industry. We do scheduling all across the board, whether you are restaurant, coffee shop, healthcare, staffing, vet. We see a lot of vet practices, security, construction, you name it. Honestly, I could name all different types of use cases. We've probably seen it before. And When I Work does schedule for a lot of customers in the US and in Canada, but across the world as well. So welcome wherever you are joining us from. Welcome, Crystal from Montreal with a mold remediation company. Awesome. We see a lot of different types of like handymen, construction, all of those sorts of companies. We're coming in so fast. Welcome, Rhonda, the owner of DGD Healthcare Solutions located in Clinton. Welcome. We see a lot of healthcare companies as well, like I said earlier. Welcome, Sarah, with a garden center. She says she's looking forward to moving past Google Calendars for scheduling. And trust me, we hear this a lot. A lot of our users are coming from not only other softwares, but softwares like Excel or Google Calendar or simply just a written calendar. So if you are looking to get off of those more manual type tools that aren't really going to help you with scheduling, welcome. We are here to help with that. And then welcome Lynn from the Royal Winchester Golf Club in the UK. Like I was saying, we get users from all across the world, not just the US, not just the US and Canada, but everywhere. So welcome, Lynn, and welcome to DJ and Diana from Area Mechanical in Minnesota. When I Work was actually founded in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, the Twin Cities. So welcome from Minnesota. All right, looks like I don't want to waste too much time on this. I want to go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone for chatting in. It's really fun to get to know you all a bit better before we get started. So I just want to welcome you all one last time to the live Q&A. My name is Marie, and I'm joined by Cara. We are part of the customer onboarding team here at When I Work, and our mission is to help new users transition to When I Work as smoothly as possible. So during the next 30-ish minutes, we'll be answering your When I Work questions. We're going to show you some ways that you can schedule, track time, communicate for your team, but the direction of the webinar is going to be directed by the questions that you all ask today. The questions are going to be flowing in, and we'll get to as many as we can. If your question does not get answered and you'd like some further help, or you come up with a new question, listen till the end, because we will be giving a resource packet for you all with the ways that you can contact us for some one-on-one help, and then some other resources that will help as well. If you're totally new to When I Work and checking out your account and you have questions on which plans we offer and our subscriptions, we are going to be going over that at the end as well. So stick around if you want some more information about that. All right, so the webinar is going to work through Q&A. You can pop your questions in the Q&A button. We'll be turning off the chat and turning on this Q&A tool. So you can put your questions in this Q&A now or at any time during the webinar. Cara, who's on with me, is going to be going through those questions. She's going to be asking as many as she can out loud. She might rearrange them based on where we are in the product to make things run more smoothly. And depending on how many questions we have, she might be typing some answers back to you if we can't get to everything live, but we will try to get to everyone's questions. Awesome. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my When I Work screen. Whoops. There we go. So this is my When I Work. I am logged in as the main admin on this account. And the main admin is essentially just the person who created the When I Work account or has been given admin access. There can be 3 admin on every account. I am just in my scheduler here. This is where you can create shifts for your employees. These are all shifts for different employees, create your schedule, publish and notify your employees for those shifts that they're working. So they know exactly when they're working and where they're working and what they'll be doing. This top menu bar is the main navigational center for When I Work. This is where you can access, again, the scheduler, your dashboard for a quick snapshot and really helpful information on what's going on at your workplace during the day. The scheduler, again, like I mentioned. Then you have the attendance tool. This is where you can view your employees' timesheets. You can see all of your time punches for your employees, close out your pay periods. And then we have the work chat tool. This is your in-app messaging system. Click back in the scheduler here. And then over on your right-hand side, this is where you can see your control center. This is where under the gear icon, you can see your settings. So the general settings for your account, scheduling, settings for your attendance tool, and then a really important 2 tabs here, your integrations landing page. This is where you can set up an integration, so a connection between your When I Work account and your payroll processor. And your account and billing page. This is where you can upgrade and see your subscription, upgrade your account, add users, things like that. Then under the workplace menu, this is a really important tab in When I Work. This is where you can view all of the what I like to call the building blocks of your When I Work account. And so it's adding in the information that will help you create your schedule and help you create your shifts. So things like adding in employees into the system. So once you add employees, they'll show up on your schedule here. And then you'll have to add positions. So you can add positions onto your shifts. And this is also where you can add in things like shift templates. We'll probably go over that later. And then any other tools that you want to add to your shifts. And then last but certainly not least, our request center. This is where you can view the different requests that you have in your account. So things like open shift requests, that's when an employee requests to pick up an open shift. And then your other shift coverage requests. This is where your employees can request a swap or a drop with a different employee. And if there's manager approval turned on, they'll show up here for a manager to accept or deny. And then your time off requests, they work the same way. Your employee can request time off and you can approve or deny that here. And then right up top, this is where you can request time off. This is where you can add time off in for yourself or other employees within the account. So with that, I'll just be starting up here in the scheduler and we can go ahead and get started with questions.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Cara, and I'm going to be going through the questions that you're asking. So let's jump right in with Crystal. When you're the business owner, can you see an overview in calendar format of who is scheduled over what period of time? Thought this would be a good opportunity to go over the different views we offer in the scheduler.
Awesome. We do have a lot of really cool views. So you can see your scheduler in different ways to help you understand who's scheduled, coverage, locations, things like that. So first, I'm going to go over some time-based views. So over here, if you click the little down arrow on the week button here, you'll see the different time-based options that you have. And I'm just going to go over all of them and you can all see maybe what works for your team. So the first one we have is the week view. It's just going to show 1 week depending on when your week start day is. So mine starts on Monday. You can just see 1 week at a time. You can also choose day view. And this is really helpful for kind of getting a more whittled down idea of your coverage for the day. So it will show, the hours in the day and then how your shifts span them. So if you need, for example, coverage for the entire day, this is really helpful here. So you can make sure that there is a block at every hour in the day. It's really helpful for coverage. It's also helpful for just seeing one day at a time who's scheduled and who's going to show up where. And then we have a 2-week view if you know maybe 1 week is a little bit too little, and then maybe day view is way too little and month view is too much. The 2-week view is really helpful here. A lot of times it's helpful to see one whole pay period. If you have a 2-week pay period, that can be helpful as well. And then we have our month view. It's kind of a snapshot of your entire month. And it's more of, a calendar. So you can see all of your shifts on a calendar, which can be helpful if you do schedule out further in advance than just a week or 2 weeks. So I'll just go back to my week view here to show a little bit more. If you want, you can also see different view options under this view options tab. If you don't see this tab, it's because your menu is collapsed. So keep that in mind. I always like to have my menu expanded. So under the view options, we have a couple of other options. So you can view your shifts by employee. So your employees are going to be down this left-hand side, and then their shifts and days of the week at top. You can view your shifts by position, and that is going to split up your schedule by the different positions that you have scheduled. So barista, cook, bus, and wait staff shifts, all within little groups. And then you can see which employees are scheduled on those days for those specific positions. So if you're really worried about coverage based on your positions, this happens a lot with healthcare, things like that. This can be helpful. And then we have the coverage view. This is going to be a chronological view of your week. So you can see this is the 6 a.m. shift, the earliest shift. And so then you can see them in a chronological order, again, helpful for, of course, coverage. It's called coverage view. So you know exactly that you have all the coverage that you need in a day. And what's helpful about all these different views is that you can hop back and forth between all the views. You are not, locked into one view. So if you, want to schedule all of your shifts in week view, in employee view, you can do that. But then you can always check for adequate coverage in coverage view and then bounce back to your employee view. So I always like to mention that you're not locked into any view, and it's helpful to bounce back and forth between the different view options that we have.
Fantastic. Yeah, that offers a lot of flexibility for all different types of workplaces. Our next question is from Nikki. Is there a way to have shifts for business, then each employee have what they can work and essentially let the system drop everyone in? I think it'd be a good time to go over our auto assign feature and how availability factors into that.
Great question. So I will show how the auto assign works, and it's very similar to what this person is describing, but it works a little bit differently. But what I just did was I went into a new week here just by pressing the arrow, just so I get a clean slate to show the auto assign tool. So the auto assign tool essentially pushes out any open shifts that you have within your workplace based on a lot of different settings that you can configure. So instead of going into your schedule and assigning shifts to your employees one by one, or assigning shifts directly to your employees, like I just did, I just assigned a shift to Alina on the 28th. So instead of assigning shifts like this within your workplace, you can use the auto assign. So I'm going to actually use the wrench icon, click into load template, and just load in a pre-made template that I have with all of my open shifts coverage for the week. And then I'll apply that template. So say that this is the coverage that I need for my workplace for the entire week. And it is all created within open shifts, which is your unassigned shifts. So open shifts can work where you create all the shifts you need and you can publish those out. Once they're published, you can no longer auto assign them because your employees will be able to pick those shifts up first come, first serve. But if you build out your weekly coverage and leave these shifts unpublished, you can use the auto assign. So by pressing the auto assign, it's going to open up a couple of settings options that you can configure. So you can choose things like not going over your employees' max hours, respecting your employees' unavailability and availability, and allowing employees to have multiple shifts in a day, things like that. So once you've configured all of these shifts, you can run the auto assign tool. The auto assign will then push out all of those shifts based on all of those qualifications that you just set. So the shifts are going to be pushed out by things like qualifications, so positions and tags. And then I asked my auto assign tool to respect my employees' availability and unavailability. So the unavailability and the availability tool is essentially preferences that your employees set into the system to let you know when they prefer to work and when they generally prefer not to work. And I ran the auto assign respecting these preferences. So these preferences you can see here is that Keith had a preference for a 9 a.m. to a 5 p.m. shift. And it was, it's trying to get the best preferences for the best shifts. So for example, here, Keith had an unavailability preference. So he wasn't assigned any of these shifts because they would be conflicting with his preference for his unavailability. If any shifts remain in open shifts, they are shifts that are not able to be scheduled out based on all of those settings that you've configured. So from there, you can either drag and drop it into an employee, or you can publish out that shift for an employee to grab, first come, first serve. So I hope that I was able to convey how you can push out all of those unassigned shifts to your employees based on all of those settings like qualifications, unavailability, availability, max hours. So it's going to take all that into account as it is pushing out and assigning all of those shifts.
That's great. I'm also going to pop in our Help Center article about the auto assign scheduling tool into that chat we were using earlier. If anybody wants a quick link to reference how auto assign works and all the qualifications you can put in. A follow-up question to that one is, where do employees put in their availability?
Great question. Your employees can enter their availability on their mobile phones, so on their When I Work app. Or if they're on a computer like I am now, they'll just hover over their name and click My Availability. From there, they'll see a larger calendar. They'll choose the day they want their preferences on. And then they can choose either I'm unavailable to work or I prefer to work. And then they can choose all day or a specific time within that day. And then they can also choose that to repeat. And the repeating tool is really helpful because a lot of times when employees are inputting their preferences, it's going to have a repeat. Things like employees that might be students and they always are going to have class, for at least 2 months, they're always going to have class on Thursdays, things like that. So the repeating tool is really helpful here. So once they save and enter in their preferences, back in the scheduler again, you'll be able to see that, or another scheduling manager will be able to see that by the gray and the green tabs on the corners of the shifts. And you can also edit your employees' availability by clicking on the down caret here by the employee's name and clicking edit the employee's availability.
Awesome. All right. Our next question is from Rhonda. How does When I Work handle miss punch in or out and clocking in and out for shifts? So going over our clocking options and how to manage timesheets.
Awesome. So for those of you who don't know, When I Work does have an awesome attendance tool. It's the attendance add-on. And if you do have this add-on, your employees will be able to clock in and out and manage their time and let you know when they are actually working. So I'll go over into my settings and into my attendance settings to show more. So we have a couple of options when it comes to clocking in and out in When I Work. So there's 3 options that you can turn on for your employees. The first option is clocking in with personal computer. So if this is turned on within your settings, your employees will be able to log into their When I Work accounts on their computers hover over attendance and click clock in, and they will do the same to clock out. So it's using a personal computer and their personal accounts. This is really great if every employee you have has their own computer at the workplace. Office employees tend to really like this option. The second option is the When I Work time clock terminal option. So the time clock terminal allows you to lock a device as a time clock terminal, very similar to a traditional time clock, where your employees will arrive at the workplace, type in their code or their email, and it will clock them in. You can lock a terminal on a computer by hovering over attendance and clicking lock as terminal, and it will lock the browser page that you're on. And if you are on a mobile device, if you want to use an iPad or a tablet or smartphone, you'll be downloading the When I Work terminal app from the Google Play or the App Store. And that app will allow you to lock the device as a terminal. When the terminal is locked, it's going to look like this. So your employees will come into the workplace, they will see this terminal locked, and they'll be able to enter their ID or their email here. So this is what it will look like on the screen. And then the third way your employees can clock in and out using When I Work is the mobile app. So if this is turned on, your employees will be able to log into their accounts on the mobile app, and they will see a big green button at the bottom of their screen that says clock in. And what's really nice about this option is that your employees are most likely going to be using the When I Work app to see their shifts, to communicate with their team, to check on what's going on in the workplace. So adding on the time clock just right onto that app that they are already using is really, really helpful because they're already using that app. They already have it open, and employees really enjoy using their own devices. And it's really helpful not to have employees touching the same terminal all together, especially in this day and age. And I'll just quickly talk about when computer clock in or mobile clock in, when those options come up, the question of, can my employees clock in and out anywhere? That question always comes up. And the answer is not if you don't want them to. You can always restrict your employees' clock in to their work location. So they won't be able to clock in if they are not on site. And to do that, you'll just click in, check these boxes. So employees must be near their location to clock in or clock out. You'll choose the radius. So you'll choose how far your employee needs to be to that location. 100 is the minimum, creates that geofence around your work location. So if that is turned on, your employees can't clock in and out if they are not on site. And then the second part to this question was, how can I edit my employees' times and time punches if something is missing or something is incorrect? And any manager or admin can always go into the employees' timesheets. You'll just hover over attendance, click into timesheets, locate the correct employee's timesheet, making sure you're on the right pay period. And if there is anything incorrect in your employee's time punch, or if there's anything missing, you can always add in a time punch or change a time punch just simply by clicking into the cell, clicking, delete or backspace on your keyboard to take away that out time. And then you can add in a new out time. So maybe it's actually 6:00 p.m. Just type that in with your keyboard and then hit enter or return. And that will edit the timesheet for you. You can also edit any information on the details column just by adding or taking away anything here. And then a really helpful tool is the eye icon. This is the shift history, entry history for these time punches. So you can see when somebody changed a time punch, who changed it. And so that's really helpful when you are changing timesheets, when things are being shifted around, so you always know what edits are being made.
Fantastic. Our next question is, does this integrate with paychecks, and where can we find all of those integration options?
Great question. So you can see all of the integration options in your account by hovering over the gear icon and clicking into integrations. This is where you can see all of the integrations that you currently have active in your account. And if you're interested in adding an integration, you can just select See All Integrations. So here is where you can see all of the integrations that we offer. These are the integrations that When I Work has created. So we have, ADP Run, Paychecks, like you mentioned, ADP Workforce Now, Gusto. All of these are integrations that we have created and we can help you set up. We also have some integrations that these companies have built to When I Work, and they also work amazing. But you will need to reach out to these companies as they're going to have a little bit more information on how to set the integrations up, and they'll be able to support you in that process. But they do work, and they will connect your When I Work account to these companies. So essentially, once you have set up one of these integrations, and to do that, just click Learn More and then click Enable, and it will walk you through how to get that set up. So once you have your integrations set up, back in the timesheets here, you'll be able to close out your pay period when you're done with your payroll. I'm approving all of these missed punches because my employees are not real. So once you close your pay period, you'll see your payroll summary. This is my very tiny little payroll summary here. From there, you can export your period hours. By default, you can export those into Excel. And then if you do have a payroll integration set up, it will show up right next to it. So it'll say Gusto, like send your times to Gusto. So then you can just press that button to automatically get all of your payroll information to your payroll processor. So you take out that manual step of having to add in all of your pay period hours into your payroll processor manually. And you can also set up your integration from here. And then the last thing I'll mention about payroll integrations is that we have a help center here. I'll pop open this tab. And if you just search, Paychecks, ADP, or Gusto, whichever payroll processor you have, you just search a keyword. We have help articles that will walk you through with pictures and videos of how to get those integrations set up. And they're really easy as long as you follow those steps. So make sure to just search for that help article, and we can also send you any help article that you might need to help you get that set up.
Wonderful. All right. I think we have time to sneak in one last question, one that we get a lot, so it's good to go over. Can I have a manager help me manage schedules?
Ooh, good question. This is a great setup question. So yes, you can always add in any managers, admins, and supervisors to help you manage your schedule and your When I Work account as a whole. So what I'm going to do is I'm hovering over the workplace menu and clicking into employees. This is where you can see your full employee list. We have a couple of different roles that your employees can have within the workplace, and that will dictate what they can do in your account. So we have employee. The employee role is the just kind of default employee role. It's a view option. So I like to say view only, but that's not really true. Employees can do other things in the account, but it is really just the role where your employees can see their shifts. If you are allowing it, they can swap and drop shifts. They can clock in and out. They can use the work chat and communication tool if you're allowing that. So it is really just that employee level where they are viewing their shifts and clocking in and out. And then one step above that level, you have the supervisor level. The supervisor level is going to be kind of a level where this supervisor can manage employees, but only employees that are assigned to the same schedules as them. So the supervisor level is really helpful if you have different departments or different locations, each with a different manager or supervisor, because then they are only able to manage employees on their team or employees at their location. And then right above that, we have the manager level. The manager essentially is a step above the supervisor because they can manage a couple more settings, and then they can manage employees on all the schedules, regardless of which schedules they are added on. The manager can't view the account and billing page here. So the manager isn't able to view the account and billing page, and neither is the supervisor. And then at the top of the kind of hierarchy, you have the admin. There can be 3 admin on any account. And the admin is going to be the person who can change all settings, manage all employees, and view and manage the account and billing page for your team. You can change the roles by clicking on edit for your employee. Within the profile section here, you can change the role here. I can't change that because that is my account, but if you edit another employee here, you can see that this is where you can assign the role to your employees, whether it's another seat of an admin, manager, supervisor, or just a regular employee. And there are a lot of differences between the different roles that employees can have. For example, by default, supervisor is not able to view wages. Small things like that are actually very, very important when you're thinking of giving your employees access to different roles. So I do recommend, again, using the Help Center and just typing in access privilege or, user access, any keyword, and we have a help article with a big chart on it, and it's going to give you all of the information on everything in the account that every level can do, and that's just going to give you peace of mind that you're giving your employees the correct access level to what they're able to see. So I do recommend taking a look at that before giving anybody a higher access level.
Super. All right. I think we can shift into talking about our plans and how to get in contact with us.
Awesome. All right, we have a couple of slides that has some helpful information on the different plans that we offer. So stick around if you are interested in this information. And then at the very end, we have a resource packet for you all. And it has a ton of different helpful resources. We'll go over all of that at the end. So we wanted to point out the different options that we have as far as subscription goes. And we've actually made it very simple to figure out which plan you'll want to be on. We have a small business plan for companies that have up to 100 employees. And then we have an enterprise plan for companies that have over 100 employees. The enterprise plan has more features that work for larger businesses that they might need. Things like access to our API key, global privacy, single sign-on, things like that. If you might need to be on the enterprise plan, do let us know, and you can chat in with us if you think you might want to be on the enterprise plan rather than the small business. But for the most part, the small business plan is the right plan for companies with up to 100 users. It's going to include all of the tools that we talked about today. If you're on the small business scheduling plan, you'll gain access to all of the scheduling capabilities. So creating shifts, all those view and coverage options that we looked at, availability, the auto scheduler that we went over, the work chat tool, all of that, all of those tools will be on the small business scheduling tool. And if you need any of the attendance add-on tools, that will come with the attendance add-on. So any of the clocking options, so mobile clock-in, computer clock-in, time clock terminal, the integrations with Paychex and Gusto, all those integrations, that'll all come with the attendance add-on. So it's very simple. If you just need scheduling, you'll be small business scheduling. And if you have any need for the attendance tools, you'll be small business scheduling plus attendance. And something really helpful and interesting when you are thinking of which plan to get. I do recommend, if you don't have a clocking system now, or if you have more traditional clocking system, I would recommend adding the attendance onto your scheduling tool. There's a lot of benefits to adding your attendance onto your scheduler, streamlining your employee management. And if you do bundle these two tools together, you'll gain access to something that we call labor reports. And it uses data from our scheduler and data from the attendance tool to create reports for you that give you a better understanding of what's going on at your workplace and a better understanding of your employees and kind of the trends that might be going on that you don't see right away. You can upgrade your account all from your own When I Work account by logging into your admin profile. Once you're logged in, you'll hover over the gear icon and click into account and billing. From there, you'll see which subscription that you're on. You'll see all of the information about your account. And then you can choose Upgrade My Account. From there, you'll be presented with the options that we have. So scheduling and messaging is turned on by default. And then if you want to, you can add the time clock and attendance add-on. And then we have two different billing options. The first one is default. It is our monthly billing. So we bill monthly, no contract. But if you want to, you can choose the annual billing option. If you choose the annual billing, you do get a 5% discount, and you are kind of locked in for that year, for that billing year. It's a really great option if you are liking When I Work a Lot, and you are just wanting that 5% discount. From there, you'll click checkout to activate your account, and then you will choose the amount of users you need. We bill in groups of 5, so you can choose 5 users, 10 users, 15, 20 users, etc. And then you'll see what your total might be based on your package, your user range, and your billing. And then you can just purchase right from here, all within your own account. So it's really great. And as you go, you can always contact us if you have any questions. You can contact us from within your account with the chat bubble found on the lower right-hand side of your account. This will connect you to live chat, and you can chat with us one-on-one about any questions that you might have as you get started. And you can also reach us at gettingstarted@wheniwork.com via email if you don't have an account yet or prefer email over live chat, and we will get back to you there as well. So we are here to answer any questions that you have as you get started, whether it's a question of if When I Work is right for you or which plan is right for you. We can also help you get set up in your account and answer any troubleshooting questions that you might have as you go. You can also find some help via the Need Help tab or the Help Center. We have a help center with a lot of different articles and training. And then we have a training center with a great guided setup training. And I really do recommend taking a look at that. It's going to help you get your account set up from A to Z. And there's also some employee training if you want to give your employees a little context of what they're seeing as well. So we have given you all of those links. So links to some pre-recorded demos, our help center, our training center, and the information on how to get in contact with us. We've linked all of those in the chat tool. So open up that chat tool and you will find all of those resources in there. We'll leave this up for a couple of minutes so you can click those links or copy and paste those links if you need them. And those will certainly help you get started. But of course, if you have any questions that you want answered one-on-one with a live person, do get in contact with us and we'll be more than happy to help. So thank you all for joining us today. And I hope everyone had a wonderful start to their week and have a great rest of your week. Bye, everyone.